Is that a countdown? You go right ahead. The only thing is, we'll expect it from now on every meeting.
Alright, I got 7.
Thank you very much. And welcome to everybody. Cumberland County Board of Supervisors, this is the call to order. We'll now call September 10th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the bylaws of Cumberland County, Virginia, Board of Supervisors, to ensure a fair, orderly, and safe meeting. Excerpts from the bylaws pertaining to proper conduct during the meeting have been posted outside for your review. Ms. Branch, please call the roll.
Mr. Hamlin?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Ms. Tyree? Here. Mr. Simpson?
Here.
Mr. Saunders?
Here. And please join me in the invocation.
Let's pray. Almighty God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time where we can gather and do the business of the people of Cumberland County. I just pray that you will be with us in this time. Fill us with your wisdom. We thank you for your mercy and your grace. Fill us with your love for one another. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
And please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is County Administrator comments.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Derek Staney, County Administrator, and I do have some comments for you this evening. I'm going to start with some staff highlights. We do have a new hire in the building inspections office. This is Gina Morrison. She is joining us from Powhatan County, where she served for approximately 7 years in the Circuit Court Clerk's office. She is filling the position of our building permit technician. She's been here for about a week now and is doing a great job, hit the ground running, and brings a lot of neat ideas and great teamwork abilities to our team, and we're very excited to welcome her. She's unable to be here this evening, but if you get a chance to stop in the Community Development Office, she's in there in the front there, and be sure to introduce yourselves. The next staff highlight we have is I'd like to take a moment and recognize Mr. Daniel Riggleman. Daniel is our IT director. Daniel, you want to wave to everybody? Daniel is the man behind the curtain. He's our IT director here in the county, and I just wanted to take a moment and thank him. And he's been extremely busy, as we all have, but he's been busy with an email migration project over the past month. It hasn't gone as smoothly as we've all wanted it to, but it's that type of project is typically handled by a team of people, and Daniel has done that on his own. I know that he's got some help from our third-party vendor, but it's been a heavy lift for Daniel. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank him for that work. And also, you may have noticed the camera over there across the room. We are now live. We are live streaming our meetings, and you can actually access our live stream if you're not able to be here. We're going to start documenting our meetings via video, and we're going to live stream those on the county web, actually on a YouTube page that we've created. But the link is available on the county website under the calendar where the meeting is scheduled to take place. There's a link embedded in that. And Daniel was key in bringing that project to completion here over the last several weeks. And again, I just wanted to take a moment and thank him for his efforts. So thank you, Daniel. Additional comments, we do have some upcoming events that I wanted to remind the board and our general public of. We do have the 9/11 ceremony tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the high school football field, located at 15 School Road, Cumberland, Virginia 23040. We have the county town hall meeting, which is scheduled for September 24th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Spruceberry Farm, and that's located at 94 Cartersville Road. It's a Cumberland address as well. So we just wanted to make sure that the public was aware of these town hall meetings that we're going to start having. They are informational meetings where we're going to be sharing some of the initiatives, some of the challenges that the county's facing, and our efforts to plan and prepare and deliver services and maintain everything operational. So we invite you to those town hall meetings. Tire Recycling Day is October 5th, 2024, 7 a.m. to noon. That's at the Luther P. Jackson Complex, right down here on Anderson Highway, 1874 Anderson Highway. And then also our Trunk or Treat event, which is, I believe it's our 4th annual Trunk or Treat event. Very popular. I believe we had 1,500 people in attendance last year. The community loves it. Kids love it. That's scheduled for Friday, October 25th at 6 p.m. at the same location at Luther P. Jackson Complex. So we've got a lot of events coming up, and we're going to continue to push information out on these events via our community guide, Facebook posting, social media, and also through text alerts and press releases. One thing I did want to bring up to the public as well and to the board was an update on the Amish buggy situation. You know, we've all been impacted by the accidents that have occurred here in the county over the previous 3 to 4 years, and one most recently approximately 6 weeks ago. And we're going to hear a little bit from our sheriff's office tonight on this as well, and also our partners at VDOT. But we are taking this issue very seriously, and speaking from county administration and the board's perspective, we are working collaboratively with VDOT to identify areas where some additional signage may be beneficial. We're also working with the school system and here with county administration on a public education and awareness campaign through print media, social media, and through the public schools. So more information to come on that. Our goal is to make sure that we are doing everything we can to educate the public on sharing the roads with our Amish community. And lastly on this, we are going to be pursuing some regional discussions. There are other localities that face similar problems that we do, similar issues with sharing the road with the Amish community, such as Charlotte County and Buckingham County specifically. They have similar concerns that we have. So having that dialogue regionally, there may be an opportunity for us to come together as a region to help with the issue as well. The last comment I have for you all this evening is I touched on the live streaming efforts already. We do ask for patience. This is a new effort on behalf of the county. Things happen technologically. We're going to do our best to troubleshoot. We want your feedback. If you as a citizen, you go home and view the video and you have a suggestion or a comment to improve this process, please reach out to us and let us know, because we always want to get better. So again, that live stream can be accessed on the main county webpage. With that, Mr. Chairman, that was a lot of comments, but I'll be glad to take any questions at this time.
Any questions from the board members, sir? Thank you very much. Thanks, sir. That's great. Next is the approval of the agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Aye. Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
And next is the public comment for agenda items. Ms. Branch will go get the sign-up sheet. As an open comment first on this for transparency, all board supervisors agreed to add this to the agenda for all meetings going forward. This is, again, this is something new. This will allow you to speak on agenda items before we bring them up for board discussions and before we even vote on them. So comment period at the end. We will continue to have a comment period. But this is an opportunity for people to speak specifically on agenda items. So thank you for that. We don't have anyone signed up today, but we'll move forward with the state and local department agencies and community service provider reports. Starting with Cumberland County Schools. Dr. Jones.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Sadie, Ms. Cruz. Just to give you some updates from when we last met in August on the school system. The school year is going well. We're about a little over a month in and so forth. Actually, interims went home today, so we're halfway through the 9 weeks. We're almost fully staffed for this school year. We still need a school counselor, a Spanish teacher, and we have interviews scheduled for our JROTC. We have to have 2 instructors for JROTC. We've actually had 3 applicants, so there's been some interest. Congratulations to Dr. Wheeler. She was just named as the assistant principal at Cumberland High School. She started on Monday. She has been serving as a special educator at Cumberland High School. And I think it's important to note that all of our school level administrators, elementary, middle, and high school, have all been teachers at Cumberland County Public Schools. So they've moved up to the ranks. So it's kind of a grow your own program. Last week, Nexus Mobile Vision Clinic was on campus providing eye exams for our students, elementary, middle, and high. They're able to sign up for that, and a mobile van comes on the site. Our first year of cosmetology is going well. I went in there the other day, and I learned about, I didn't know this was a thing. I learned about a 9-section perm rod set. That's quite a process, but I did learn about that. They offered to do it on me, but I was like, you don't have much to work with. So anyway, HVAC and welding students are doing well at SDCC. We send students there. They're learning great job skills and already talked about the different beads and the fittings and different things like that, so that's good. CNA students began their clinicals. I don't know if you saw on social media where they had on their blue scrubs and so forth, so they came and got their official ID so they can go out and practice their clinicals. The FFA students participated in the Virginia Cooperative Extension Dairy Day that was held at the barn at Poorhouse, so that was good. I saw where they took a picture with the Dairy Queen, so it was pretty interesting. CNA students hosted a blood drive, and they collected over 35 pints of blood, which can potentially save 105 lives. The Cumberland County Public Schools Athletic Department is still selling weed eater string for $5 per school. That is definitely the deal of the day if you want to start your holiday shopping. Fall sports are underway. Golf, cross country, volleyball, and JV football. We have Duke Spirit Wear on sale. JV football had their first scrimmage and did very well. They were against Brunswick County schools. And they officially kick off their season on Thursday at Alta Vista. We traveled to Alta Vista. And our Cumberland Middle School volleyball team just won in 3 sets against Buckingham. When we beat our neighbors down Route 60, we beat the green and gold, we did very well. So we're very proud of that. On Saturday, Cumberland High School cross country member Victor Cruz competed in the Pole Green Class C Division Classic and placed 5th out of 183 runners. This was his best time since he began running. Congratulations to Coach Tyrone Mosby for returning as the Cumberland High School head basketball coach. Coach Mosby was the coach from 2003 to 2021, took a break, and now he's returning to the sidelines. And congratulations to Deshaun Stern for being named the JVCUCPS boys basketball coach. They're both alumni of the school division. And Deshaun's father, Keith White, was big into sports at Cumberland School, so there's a lot of excitement about that. College Info Night and FAFSA Night are September 26, 2024 at 5:30 at the high school. If you've never filled out a FAFSA form, that's quite a process as well. Lots of learning are taking place, as you've probably seen in the news. New accreditation, new accountability, implementation of Virginia Literacy Act, cell phone policies, and working on instructional coaching, and staff is definitely participating in professional learning. Parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for the afternoon of September 19th from 1 to 6. This year we added a morning session on the 20th from 8 to 12 for families that may not be able to do the evening, but maybe they'll do the morning. So that's the first for us. On the evening of September 19th, we're hosting the First Lady, Youngkin, and Dr. Height will convene a fireside chat to discuss the findings of the book, The Anxious Generation. We and how it informs their communities and schools, and limiting social media and cell phone use to help restore childhood. So we'll do that. That's on the night of our parent-teacher conferences from 7 to 8. We'll live stream that, and then from 8 to 9, there's a chat about what people just saw. The LCDA that's on Main Street in the Farmville Area Chamber of Commerce are hosting new teacher and returning teacher reception on Thursday at 5:30 for teachers of Fuqua, Cumberland, and Prince Edward to welcome them to the community. And we appreciate their support. The school division, Cumberland schools, along with other Region 8 schools, are participating in AI professional learning about artificial intelligence and the impacts on education and so forth. Actually, Cumberland is hosting that. So the schools are coming here and so forth, and how to best implement it in the division. As Mr. Stanley said, tomorrow we are hosting the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony. I think it's great that the school and the county partnered for that, and it is very student-centered. Students are leading that ceremony from elementary, middle, and high. They weren't, of course, born in 2001, but it's good that we know of the history and the importance of it and so forth. And as always, thank you for your support of Cumberland County Public Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
Thank you.
Any questions for? No? Good. Next is VDOT and Ryan Lockwood.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, administration. Ryan Lockwood, Assistant Presidency Administrator for VDOT, here to give an overview of the last month's activities in the department. So we'll go through the typical budget. Again, this is approximately $1.5 million plan to date, about $440,000 and been expended. In this slide, it's the graphical representation showing where we're at. The green line, if you see on August, we met our target. So September is below target at this point, but next month that line should be represented closer to the offer. This slide here is a summary of the work orders again received at the department through our customer service line. There were several trees down, limbs during the storm event that we had. A couple dead animals. We'll see more of that obviously as the fall approaches and we get more deer activity, so on and so forth. So there were the two primary items on there. Visibility again. I'll say that at every board meeting, if there are locations anywhere in the area that citizens or the board would like addressed, let me know or call 1-800-444 road and we'll have that taken care of. Secondaries had the first mow last month, final mow will be coming up in October as well as farmers. So construction projects, so the Route 45 690 roundabout. Contract completion is November 21st. Late last week, the final configuration of the roundabout was open, and today they actually completed the paving. So there's some ancillary work that still needs to be done, pencil items, and so on and so forth. But they're certainly on track to meeting the completion date. Surface treatment project. The actual placement of the surface treatment throughout Cumberland County is complete. Remaining element of that is our ride marking. And this plant mix project is actually complete within Cumberland County. So I'll spend the bulk of my presentation or my discussion tonight on the Route Corridor study that I talked about several meetings, past couple meetings. It was completed by the department. Mr. Staney, I provided that to him late last week. I don't know if you had the opportunity to share that with you all, but I'll go through kind of a high level of the final consensus was. So within the existing Route 60 corridor between Carlisle and Route 13, there's 3 speed zones. So within those existing speed zones, there was actually no speed reduction, but there was the inclusion of an interim speed zone down at the eastern end of Route 60. I'll get into that in more detail. The other outcome of the findings were that there were 28 recommendations, signage, vegetation, data markings, and again, I'll go into that in more detail on a couple slides. This slide here represents the 3 speed zones that I had referenced. If you start from the west and work east, just to the east of Carlisle, there's a short 45-mile-an-hour section. There's no change there. Then you transition into a 35-mile-an-hour zone through the courthouse area. No change there. And then the third zone, as you head further east, was a 55-mile-an-hour zone. And within there, the findings were that the recommendation is to install or place a 45-mile-an-hour zone. So you're stepping down from west to east, stepping up from 35 to 45 to 55, from east to west, 55, 45 to 35. This slide here, I presented this just to give you all an idea of the speed and how the study was conducted. Again, starting in the bottom of the slide, the western part of the corridor, when the analysis was conducted at the count location, the operational speed was 50 miles an hour. So anywhere from up to 5 miles an hour, the speed limit remains. If it was below 45 to 40, the speed limit would be reduced. So that makes sense. The second zone, the 35-mile-an-hour zone, the operational speed was 5 miles an hour, again over, that's the limit. The third section, as you move up further on the slide, again, that section was posted 45, the operation was 48, so again, that's where we put the 45-mile-an-hour zone in. And further to the west, further to the east, excuse me, is the 57-mile-an-hour operational speed. This slide here is a representation of the crashes along the corridor. If you look to your right, the cluster of the yellows, the green, and the pink, that's the 35-mile-an-hour zone. That's where most of the accidents have occurred, and there's some additional improvements within that area that I will touch on. One thing to note that along that corridor, it's a 3-year period from May 21 to April 24. There's 21 crashes with 0 fatalities. And then there's a crash rate in there, an injury rate. Essentially, the corridor falls below those rates within the district and the state, except for the injury rate on the statewide level. So the point being, this corridor is actually better, quote unquote, with respect to accidents and incidents than most of the areas throughout the state. So there's a couple slides I'll go through a little more detail what the actual improvements are. The slide on your left is the eastern section of the corridor, just west of Route 13. Again, if you're coming into the courthouse area from 55, there's going to be a 45-mile-an-hour sign showing with a 45-mile-an-hour ahead. Going the other direction is a 55. Heading further west, there's multiple locations as the image on the right. There's several locations along this corridor that have utility poles. They're called chevrons or identification markers that are going on the utility poles. Those poles are within a clear zone, so we have decided as a department and in accordance with standard practice that these signs are placed on those poles. So heading further west, again, you get to see more of those signs placed on utility poles, and then also placement of route signs, and just to help clarify and provide clarity to the traveling public. More of the same as you head further west on the image on the right. Excuse me, on your left. The image on the right is actually, we're back heading east now. This is just as you go from a 4-lane section to a 2-lane section, just outside the courthouse here. So we're going to make some changes to that, because this is where many of the accidents occur. This is essentially how it looks today with the arrows. And that's how it will look moving forward with sign placement, removal of the skip lines, and additional arrows. And then in addition to that, just beyond the arrows, there's going to be a smoother transition from what you see to there on the edge line to this. It's going to be a flatter curve. So that would, in essence, help with the transition transition and hopefully reduce accidents within that zone. So that was a mouthful within the corridor there. I know you all have that, and I'll take questions at the end, but you can also reach out to me offline. The next steps with this study. So as I had indicated, the speed reduction signage, before that actually can get posted, what the department has to do is solicit law enforcement concurrence of both the sheriff's department and the state police. So VDOT will be reaching out to the sheriff's department to get that concurrence as well as state police. And then once that concurrence is obtained, we'll do an internal resolution by our traffic engineer, and then that gets passed up to our central office. So that'll memorialize the actual speed zone. Once that is complete, we can actually place the speed reduction signage. Mr. Stady and I were talking last week. I didn't know at the time, but what we can do in advance of that, actually start incorporating the other changes that I had shared on the slides. So I'll go ahead and initiate after that meeting unless there's any strong objections or questions, and we'll get that on the schedule. So that was the, well, beyond that, I didn't put a slide on this, but a quick update on the rural rustic I wanted to share with you all. There's 2 roads again that are on this year's plan, Route 701, Road, Route 692, Briar Creek Road. They're actually going to be, the surface treatment is not going to be placed this year because we're getting too late into the fall, but the road's actually going to be graded out with stone. I want to thank Mr. Stamey and Mr. Page for getting the resolution so we can actually get that initiated. So, again, those 2 roads will be started this year, but they will be completed next trial. Well, that was all I have for my report this evening. Does anyone have any questions?
Say thank you for this.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
School Road and Route 60, you're gonna do a further study on that intersection?
Yeah, so when we spoke several weeks back, I didn't remind you or months back, the intent was to get this behind us and see what the companies are, and then we can transition back to the school area and, need to revisit those concerns, but we can put that on our to-do list.
I do have one thing, Brian. Sorry. I don't know, did you talk to Brian about the 35-mile-an-hour zone ahead sign? Talking about obstructions. This same zone that we're talking about has a bush that is covering that 35-mile-an-hour ahead right there at the Plantation Christmas Tree Farm.
I'm laughing because I missed it, but it is on here, short answer to your question.
Okay, good. It's like 100% blocked.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that with the study. So I don't know when, but we'll make sure it's on the list. But VDOT is we got multiple departments do different things. We got a sign crew go out there. We got a payment department crew. We got tree trimming. So that'll all be taken care of. I'll give you an update next meeting. See where we're at. Okay.
We're good.
Okay,
Brian.
So thank you.
Next item is the Cumberland Sheriff Office safety update. Yes. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you. First, Sheriff, I apologize I couldn't be here this evening. A few items to touch on. First of all, our radio project for getting connected to the VSP Stars Network are proceeding. We've actually managed to trim a little fat on that project. We're very happy with it. Some things in there that we felt didn't need, so we were able to get some cost on that. The county administrator has been great pushing that forward. Previously, our fire chiefs have kind of been spearheading it, so it's kind of taking up that mantle and going forward with it. We're pretty excited about it. To touch on the Omni Buggy incident, we have been working with the county administrator on identifying some areas of concern, signage, that sort of thing. We've also had some complaints. The sheriff had directed some complaints on speeding, reckless driving on Cumberland Road, areas occurred in. So we've had additional patrols in those areas, try to slow folks down, passing crazy times, crazy areas. We also have had some complaints of large trucks and speeding on Vogel Road. We placed a signboard, speed board that's placed in speed by radar over there, and we have additional patrols in there. I don't believe we issued any speeding summonses. We brought in Virginia State Police, their DOT folks have worked expertise dealing with large trucks, plus they can deploy scales and do safety inspections in trucks, and that's what requires a little more training than what I have. So we got Other than that, we have, and I told them to share part of it before, now we have 2 new deputies in the police academy, Jay Sean Dookie and AJ Wingo. They're both raised up here, the local kids. We have high hopes for them, and they're going to be in the academy until middle or end of December. Hopefully we'll have them field trained up and ready to hit the roads in January. See them say hi. That's primarily what I have. Anybody have any questions?
Good. Thank you for the update. Good. And next on the agenda is the finance report. Mrs. Cruz, please.
Good evening, members of the board. On pages 1 through 10 of your board packet, you'll find the monthly budget report. That's a cumulative report for this fiscal year so far. So your information, if you have any questions, I'm going to take them now, or if you have any, you're welcome to reach out to me at any time. The second item we have is a request from Cumberland County Public Schools. They have requested that the board approve a budget supplement totaling $1,076,391.29. This funding is actually for 5 individual grants. This is a 2-part appropriation. Part of this is a rollover appropriation from FY24. It's funding that the board approved last fiscal year, but the funds were not used. The total for those 2 grants is $876,548.01. In addition to that, they do have new funding this fiscal year thus far, in the amount of $199,843.09. The funding must be used in accordance with the guidelines of each individual grant, and the funds cannot be supplanted in the current budget for the FY25. The request for the supplemental appropriation was not included in the school's FY25 adopted budget and does not require any additional local funding. With that, it is my recommendation that the school's appropriation be supplemented in the amount of $1,076,391.29.
Any questions for Ms. Cruz? Do we have a motion to approve the appropriation as requested?
Second. Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Aye. Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you.
And next, Stephanie Johnson, planning and zoning report.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This evening for you, I have the monthly planning and zoning update on pages 18 through 21 of your board packet. This is for the month of August. Staff has issued 1 commercial accessory permit, 7 residential primary permits, 7 residential accessory permits, and only 2 farm structure permits. For subdivisions, we've issued 6 this month, and we have 29 pending. We've approved 3 surveys of existing lots and have a total of 27 pending. As for the commercial ENS permits, we still have just the 1, and that's the Cobbs Creek Reservoir. The reservoir is currently at a holding pattern at level 272. They have to hold at this elevation for a period of 2 weeks, just to make sure that the dam is holding the water, that there's no leaks, everything is good to go, and then they can start filling again. For residential ENS permits, we have issued a total of 8, and on the last page, you'll see we have a list of potential code amendments that will be coming before the Planning Commission shortly, and then coming to your attention as well thereafter. And that's all I have for you this evening.
So I do have a quick question. How long is the hold on at level 272?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So they're coming near the end of that 2-week holding period.
Okay. Thank you. Next, county attorney's report.
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing to report this time.
Thank you. On the consent agenda, Mr. Stanley, please provide an overview.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, a couple of items for your consideration under consent agenda. The first is the approval of bills. And the second is the approval of your meeting minutes from your August 13th regularly scheduled meeting and your September 4th workshop. Those can be found on pages 18 to 54 of your board packet. Be glad to take any questions at this time.
Any questions from the board? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
And on to new business, the STEPS funding request.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, a couple of items for your consideration under new business for this evening. The first can be found on page 59 of your packet. It comes from STEPS out of Farm Bill, and you may recall at the last meeting on August 13th, Representative from STEPS, Sean Rozier, presented to the board an update of their services as a whole as an organization, but also requested funding for their supportive housing project. They originally approached the board back in the spring during the budget process, and we asked them to come back at a later time when they had more information on the project and had seen some other commitments as far as funding. And just to remind you that the supportive housing project is about a 48 acre project located in Farmville, and it will house about 60 units for supportive housing, homeless housing. Currently, STEPS utilizes hotels and other types of shelters in the event of family emergencies where folks need shelter. There will be 6 rooms allocated for Cumberland County. The funding request from STEPS to Cumberland is for $25,000 spread over 4 years, so it would be $6,250 per year. And County Administration requests that the board consider the supportive housing funding request as presented this evening. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Stanton?
I got a question. $25,000 spread over 4 years, $6,250 per year. Obviously, that's not a one-time ask. Is this going to be an every 4-year ask to support their efforts ongoing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this funding, as it's been presented to us, is capital based. So this funding is specific to actually building, acquiring the property, handling all the construction costs associated with the supportive housing unit. So that it's my understanding that this is a one-time ask, that it won't be a repetitive ask as part of that project.
And do we know anything about, I know STEPS has said that they will allocate or set aside 6 rooms per smaller county that's contributing. Do we know the guidelines, what kind of criteria they're looking for when given temporary housing? I guess my question is, if this is to deal with short-term homelessness, how do they allocate 6 rooms to Cumberland County if someone is homeless and they're no longer a resident of the county? I'm trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, I can't speak to their internal processes. I would misspeak if I
I
did.
didn't know if they gave that information.
I can look into that and find out, but I do know that they have a pretty strict process as they review the applications that come through. They don't just take your word for it, but they do set aside those 6 spaces. And once those are filled, they still work to find placement, even if you're a Cumberland resident and they don't have any space available. They look to find placement in other locations. But I will get that information to you, and to the board as well.
Any other questions for Mr. Stanton regarding the STEPS? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the funding request as presented? So moved.
Second. Mr. Hamlet?
No.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Next, the VRS Enhanced Hazardous Duty Benefits.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the other item for your consideration under new business is related to enhanced hazardous duty benefits. And just to give you some background on this item, the Cumberland Sheriff's Office currently operates with a 1.70% multiplier. VRS does allow for localities to approve through a revocable resolution an increase to 1.85% for public safety positions. If this was adopted by the board via resolution, it would become effective 1 month after it's passed and would be applied to all current and future public safety positions. It would bring the county's contribution overall from 10.68% to 11.44%, with an annual operating impact of approximately $29,000. And I do have this resolution prepared. Mr. Beasley prepared this resolution specific to Cumberland, and the recommendation, the county administrator recommends adoption of the resolution for enhanced hazardous duty benefits as presented. And I can read that resolution into the record if desired by the board.
Please.
Whereas Section 51.1-138 of the Code of Virginia, as amended, permits a locality in the Commonwealth of Virginia that currently participates in the Virginia retirement system to make an irrevocable election to provide enhanced hazardous duty retirement benefits for eligible employees that are comparable to those benefits provided to Virginia State Police officers, and whereas the locality believes that law enforcement officers serving in the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office are in positions comparably hazardous to that of Virginia State Police officers, and whereas the Board of Supervisors believes it is appropriate that law enforcement officers serving in the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office receive the same benefits as their counterparts in the Virginia State Police, and desire to elect that these officers receive the aforementioned enhanced benefits, and whereas such election is subject to approval of the VRS Board of Trustees, now therefore be it resolved that Cumberland County does hereby elect to have such employees of the county who are employed in the positions of full-time law enforcement officers in the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, and whose tenure is not restricted as to temporary or provisional appointment, become eligible effective the first day of October 2024, for VRS benefits equivalent to those provided for state police officers of the Department of State Police as set forth in the Virginia Code Section 51.1-138, including the retirement multiplier of 1.85% in lieu of the benefits that would otherwise be provided to such employees.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley.
Yes, sir.
Board members, do we have any questions for Mr. Stanley regarding the VRS?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have questions for the county administrator, but I thought anytime that we have budget expenditures that we would at least be able to have discussion amongst ourselves. I was not afforded that opportunity as to why I would vote against the steps funding. So I guess I'll utilize this time to, I don't have a question for our county administrator, but I wanted to give input into any time that we spend additional monies from the citizens of this county. When we cry that we need funding, we need revenue, and yet we spend money on things outside of this county. I'm first and foremost concerned about the folks that live and have to work a job or two jobs to put food on the table, and they're never going to see their taxes go down that we all admit are too high. That $25,000, we heard that our deputies are underpaid. Now, I'm fully supportive of any measure that can increase the pay in our first responders. I support them 100%. They're a function of this county. They're integral to the functioning of this county. Gladly support this measure. But I wanted to talk about the $25,000 that could have gone to increase pay for our deputies. But I wasn't afforded that opportunity. So I'll refrain from any further discussion on it.
Mr. Hamlin, just for the record, these are the items, both of these items were discussed in the last workshop.
And this is our board meeting with public in attendance. And if I'm going to vote to spend their money, I'm going to let them know why I am or why I'm not voting to spend their money.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution for enhanced hazardous duty benefits? As presented.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Aye. Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Now on the public hearings, which we don't have any hearings today. Additional information in the packet. Next item would be public comments. Sorry, there's a branch. That's good. All individuals who have signed up for the public comment period will be allowed to speak when called upon by the chair. Members of the Board of Supervisors and county officials will not respond directly to questions asked during the public comment period. Instead, answers will be directed through county administrator at a later date. Please provide contact information on the sign-up sheet to all proper response of the county administrator. And we have, first up would be Betty Myers.
Good evening, I'm Betty Myers, I live at 577 Deep Run Road. Thank you for allowing me to speak. In listening to your meeting this evening, and I have not reviewed the minutes for the workshop yet, but this is a public meeting, and I really thought there'd be some follow-up comment about the letter to be sent to Greenwich, and it's not been mentioned this evening. So, it kind of lets those of us here, it kind of lets us in the darkness of what's happening, and you all want to say that you're being very transparent with us. The other thing is, in case you don't know it, Greenwich has filed their air permit application. The interesting thing about this is the people from Greenwich came and had a meeting at the school, the high school, on August 5th, and they filed this application on August 6th. Never once at that meeting did they go in and say anything about being, going to DEQ and filing that. The other interesting thing about this is even after they had a meeting with DEQ back in April prior to filing the application, DEQ sent them another letter that's asking for additional information. So it makes me wonder, coming from the business world, what are we doing with these people in our county? If they can't follow directions from DEQ about filing an application, how do you all think that they can run a landfill in this county? That's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Next up is David Lance.
It's David Lance. I have very terrible handwriting. Sorry about that. I live on Cumberland Road. I just want to mention basically what I normally mention at a lot of these meetings, which is the noise. I just want to, I know that it is being worked on, and I appreciate that, but that does not stop me from hearing it, and it does not stop me from mentioning it. A couple weeks ago, there was, I don't know what was going on in the building, but there was something going on in the building that I constantly complained about on Davenport Road. And I actually asked when I called to have the deputy stop by my house if possible. I was hoping he would stop by before, but he did stop by afterwards. And I was very pleased to hear him say that he heard the noise from that building all the way down on Tarwallet. So if you don't know where exactly I'm talking about, 11 Davenport Road, I live 1,500 feet away from that building, and I hear it constantly. Tarwallet is probably a good quarter of a mile or more away from that building, and the deputy heard the noise. I'm tired of complaining about it, and I understand it is being worked on, and I appreciate it. But I'm letting you know, even though you're working on it, I am still hearing it. And according to the noise ordinance, I should never hear it. It's interesting to me that nobody seems to know in this county what the noise ordinance is, or how late it goes, or if there's a time limit on it, which there's not, unless somebody can show it to me. There's no time limit. There's no, I can play music or I can be loud until this time. You can't. It's not in the ordinance at all. There's only specific stipulations for times listed in that ordinance. But I feel like I'm Betty Myers, and I'm just up here beating the dead horse because we're constantly fighting a battle that we shouldn't be fighting. If the website of the county I live in states that I deserve peace and quiet, I should have peace and quiet. And if I don't, somebody needs to do something about it. I'm not saying that people should not be able to have a good time, but what I'm saying is if you were renting a building and that building was put in place and nobody around that building wanted it, I have all of the notes, nobody wanted it. It was put in place by board of supervisors and building, whatever the other department is called, long before y'all were here. But the issue is that it was put in place when everyone was here saying they didn't want it. But everyone who sits behind the desk said, we don't care what you want, we're gonna do it anyway. So my last 20 seconds, I would just say, your jobs are extremely important. I don't work for any of you, all of you work for us. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. What I'm saying is it is extremely important that the citizens understand that you guys know what you're supposed to be doing and you take it serious. That's what I'm asking. Thank you for the comment, by the way. I appreciate it.
That's the end of the public comment period. Next is chairman and board member comments.
I won't go back and say what I really want to say, but I just want to thank everybody here that's in attendance. I say it every time. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for making your voice heard. From day one, that's what I've been about. That's what I'll always be about. For the people of this county and making sure that you're represented on this board. Thank you for showing up.
Please.
Good evening, first of all, everyone. I just would like for the citizens to know that when we sit up here and we agree to donate to an organization, it's for a good cause. Not only are we spending their money, we're spending our money, because we pay taxes here as well. And that's why I believe we agreed as a board to do it over a 4-year span instead of coming up with $25,000 all at once. We never know when we're gonna be in a position where we're gonna need steps. Steps have helped a lot of people here in Cumberland County. And we need to support them because we never know whether it's gonna be us or our family member or someone we know that needs step support. And so that's why I agreed to give them what they asked for.
Thank you. Personal thanks to Daniel, Mr. Stanton too, for working on the audio systems, video systems. I know it's a lot of work, and I know, well, especially Daniel, how much an outlook upgrade can be, even for an organization this size. It's, to champion that yourself is almost insurmountable. So thank you for your effort. Hopefully this will bring more transparency to the board. In addition, having the sign-up period in the beginning of the meeting